Hello and welcome to this webinar, Realising the Opportunity to Increase Quality and Improve Efficiency of Safety Data Collection within Patient Support Programs, hosted by Script and sponsored by MyMeds&Me. My name is Andrea Charles, Editor of Custom Content for Pharma Intelligence, and I will be your moderator for today's event. Before we begin, let me explain how you can participate in today's presentation. First of all, if you have any technical difficulties during today's session, please press the Help button on your player console to receive assistance in solving common issues. We welcome your questions during today's event. In order to submit a question to today's presenters, simply type your question into the question window on the left-hand side of your screen and then hit the Submit button. We will be answering as many questions as possible during the Q&A session that will follow the main presentation. But please feel free to send in your questions at any time and we will add them to the queue. If at any time you are having audio difficulties or difficulties advancing the slides, simply hit F5 to refresh your webcast console. Please also be aware that today's session is being recorded and will be available beginning tomorrow for you to review. You will be notified via email when the archive is available. Now, let me introduce today's presenters. Dr. Andrew Rutt is the Chief Executive and Co-founder of MyMeds&Me, the developer and provider of Reportum, a SaaS solution for the digital capture of adverse event and product quality reports across the life science industry. Dr. Rutt has deep expertise in pharmacovigilance as well as the emerging challenges of data privacy. He has held senior roles spanning drug discovery and development within GSK and has worked in North America, Europe and Asia Pacific. Selena Scaglione is the Associate Director within the Pharmacovigilance and Epidemiology Department at Gilead Sciences. Selena has 16 years of experience working for both large pharmaceutical and small biotechnology organizations and has taken on roles in various functional groups within drug safety, including operations, medical surveillance, encoding, training, and vendor management. She has extensive experience in collaborating cross-functionally with clinical operations, medical affairs, and commercial departments on safety reporting and compliance, managing drug safety case processing teams to 100% on-time reporting compliance, and leading case processing outsourcing initiatives. Ellen Morris is currently a clinical program manager at United BioSource. She has responsibility for planning and implementing the daily oversight of multiple clinical services supporting biopharmaceutical brands and pharma clients. These patient support services include both telephonic clinical patient adherence programs and clinical coordination services for therapy-specific visits to patients' homes. Ellen has worked in the specialty pharmacy and patient support program arena for the past 17 years and has worked with various United BioSource clients in therapy-specific clinical services as well as safety event reporting processes. So today's presentation will cover patient support programs, challenges for patient support programs, digital solutions, the Gilead strategy, the United BioSource execution of the Gilead strategy, and a final conclusion from our speakers before we jump into the live Q&A session. Before I hand things over to our presenters, we'd first like to ask for your participation in a quick poll to give us a better understanding of your needs. So our question is, what are the main challenges of patient support programs in your organization? Choose any or all that apply from the following answers: regulatory compliance, data quality, and resource utilization. Brilliant. And with that, I'll hand over to Andrew, and if we could show the results, please.
Hi, so it's Andrew Russ. So thanks everyone for participating. So it's interesting to see the results. There's a pretty good spread, but data quality comes up as the highest score with 62.5%, roughly 65%. So I think we can see the challenges are fairly universal, and what we want to do in this webinar is to cover those challenges in some more depth. So patient support programs have changed significantly over the past 2 decades. They operated primarily out of call centres and were designed to enable reimbursement to prescribers and to record patient coverage. Today, PSPs are much more sophisticated and have grown significantly in scale and complexity. They place a greater emphasis on providing services to the patient throughout the course of their treatment plan, helping pharma connect much more directly to its customers. PSPs provide value by helping patients to better manage chronic diseases and optimize complex treatments by filling the gaps in services that are not provided in the current healthcare systems. The key focus of PSPs is threefold: to support patients and help them take their medicines as prescribed, to help patients understand their condition and provide advice on managing disease, e.g. through lifestyle changes or disease education, and to provide a service or reimbursement for patients, also known as assistance programs. The last few years have also seen the global proliferation of PSPs due to the acceleration in drug approvals, particularly for complex medicines, as well as a greater international demand for patient-centric outcomes. Pharma companies will typically implement sets of PSPs for recently launched products, resulting in hundreds of increasingly complex programs running concurrently across the world in many different languages. So what is the importance of PSPs for pharmacovigilance? As PSPs have transformed and grown, they have the potential to become an increasingly valuable resource for pharmacovigilance, given the extensive amount of patient safety data that is generated alongside information on adherence or quality of life measures. This provides key insights into the safety profile of the medicine in real-world use. So it's a bit going back to the survey, quality of data was one of the key points. So with the system as it stands, pharma undoubtedly faces big challenges to obtain accurate, relevant, and consistent data while meeting its regulatory obligations for adverse event reporting. In fact, a recent survey of market authorization holders in Europe found that a large proportion of pharmaceutical companies are struggling to provide appropriate oversight and management of their PSPs. I believe that given largely manual, paper-based collection methods, some of the biggest challenges relate to the lack of standardization across the 3 areas below: recording, processing, reconciling the huge volumes of adverse event data PSPs generate. And as Gilead and UBC will describe in more depth, the consequences of a lack of standardization are, firstly, inconsistency across different vendors. Most often, the conduct of PSPs is outsourced to third parties, located across the globe, and this can amplify the inconsistency of data capture, resulting in poor data quality for downstream signal detection. PSPs are rolled out globally in local languages, and all the data has to be translated back into English and provided to central teams for processing and analysis. Second, high training and management costs. Ensuring safety data is collected as required incurs significant management overhead with repeated staff training, quality control, and rework. Thirdly, meeting regulatory compliance. The manual processes and associated handoffs make it very difficult to ensure regulatory compliance. It is not an audit-proof process. So let me share with you the common PSP adverse event capture processes and how these change with digital intake technology such as Reportum. So this slide represents a generic PSP safety management system. As you can see, it's complex, it's a labor-intensive process with multiple manual steps and lots of data re-entry. Typically, there's a burden of staff training and indeed retraining. Because relevant data is not captured initially, redundant follow-up cycles are initiated with associated costs. Importantly, sometimes that data can never be recaptured. Finally, reconciliation between systems is tedious, it's time-consuming and prone to error. So the new, simpler digital process, as we see here, is facilitated through systems such as Reportum. To give you some background, Reportum is a cloud-based software as a service solution for the digital capture of adverse events and product quality complaints across both web and mobile in a standard, coded yet configurable form across local languages. You can see here the vendor is trained via a learning management system and then has access to the solution to capture the relevant adverse event data in a consistent manner. Back-end processes are then available to manage case workflow, alerts to staff, and include translation and quality control steps. Reconciliation between systems is automated, giving quality and saving manual effort. Finally, ensuring information is captured first time right minimizes redundant follow-up and transforms the entire process. Thank you, and I'll hand over to Selena, who will cover the Gilead experience.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm now going to talk about some of the challenges that Gilead was experiencing in terms of adverse event reporting from our solicited programs and the digital solution that we implemented to kind of manage all of our safety reporting requirements. So in 2016, we began exploring options for automating the safety reporting requirements for our Gilead-sponsored patient assistance and support programs, as a digital solution would greatly improve efficiency, not only internally, but also for our contracted partners as well. Gilead safety reporting requirements for our contracted partners includes adverse event reporting, safety training, and submission of a monthly reconciliation report. Some of the challenges with the manual paper-based AE reporting process were inconsistent safety data collection due to the adverse event report form being narrative-centric, and as such, there was great variation in the amount and quality of safety data collected and would depend on the safety reporting experience and medical background of the agent collecting the information. The narratives of those with extensive safety experience or medical background were much more complete with the relevant adverse event details, as typically those individuals know the types of questions to ask to elicit quality safety data, versus those agents that perhaps did not have safety experience or medical background. Another challenge of using paper-based narrative-centric report forms was conflicting information. For example, drug details such as dose or indication captured within the narrative would be inconsistent with the dose or indication captured within the corresponding structured fields on the form. Missing or incomplete information was also a challenge. For example, we may receive only partial dates for the date aware of the adverse event, or the Gilead product would be missing. The impact of these challenges, which many of you can relate to, is the need to query back to the partner to obtain the missing or incomplete information or to seek clarification on conflicting data points. And although querying is needed to obtain the necessary case details, it's a very labor-intensive process for the client, as depending on the degree of missing or incomplete information, multiple querying may be necessary to complete a case, and this translates to multiple follow-up reports on the partner side, which again is a very labor-intensive and inefficient process. Failed fax or email submissions rounds out the challenges we were experiencing with a paper-based reporting process. Failed fax or email submissions not only result in our partners being out of compliance with their contracted reporting timelines, but were resource-intensive and inefficient, as it required us to query for the report and for the partner to resubmit it. Another opportunity to improve efficiency was in how we trained our partners on Gilead's safety reporting requirements. Like the adverse event reporting, training was a manual process conducted via WebEx and done at program launch and annually for as long as the program was active. Tracking of partner training compliance was done via an Excel spreadsheet and was checked on a monthly basis for those partners due for training. When scheduling training with our larger partners, multiple sessions were needed to ensure the call center was covered at all times, such that patient and provider customer service was not interrupted. And partners with multiple sites also required multiple training sessions, as oftentimes one session could not accommodate all time zones. Documentation of training completion was also manual and paper-based, using a training attendance form which was stored by the respective partner and needed to be immediately provided to Gilead in the event of an audit or inspection. Now, circling back to our partners with multiple sites, training records were required to be kept at the site as well as at the home office, and much time was spent collating and storing training documentation in this scenario. An automated approach to training management would translate to training delivery and documentation that was centralized and more efficient. The last safety reporting requirement that could be improved through a digital solution was that of reconciliation. Our partners were required to submit monthly paper reconciliation reports listing all adverse events reported to Gilead during that time period. Given this was also a manual process, the same challenges seen with the paper-based adverse event report form regarding poor data quality were seen with the reconciliation reports. Missing or incomplete information would require an investigation to confirm receipt of the report by Gilead, particularly if the Gilead case number for the report was missing. The investigations were often labor-intensive as it required a search of the safety database as well as our safety inboxes to confirm the report was not in fact missed by Gilead. If we were unable to confirm receipt, a query was sent to the partner to provide evidence the case was submitted on time, either through the original fax confirmation or email sent. If the partner could not provide evidence of the original submission, they were required to send the case along with the reason the case was late and a preventative action to mitigate a recurrence. To compile the reconciliation report, information was copied and pasted from the adverse event report form as well as from the acknowledgement email containing the Gilead case reference number for the report. Whenever there is copying and pasting from different sources, there is increased chance of error, which was seen in the form of duplicate information, requiring querying for clarification. As you can see, processing the manual reconciliation reports was a very tedious, time-consuming process, and always a pain point, not only for my team, but also for our partners. As you have heard, there were many opportunities to make the safety reporting processes more efficient and streamlined with improved compliance, and a digital solution that would centralize all the requirements we determined was the best approach. Reportum fit our business requirements as it was a digital solution that integrated electronic capture and submission of safety information, auto-reconciliation, as well as a learning management system in one application. The adverse event journey to capture safety data was well organized and easy to navigate. The design and layout of the structured fields allowed for as much information as possible to be collected in the quickest amount of time possible. Another key feature was the electronic submission of reports directly into the Gilead safety database. With this, we could eliminate the fax and email submissions and improve reporting compliance for our partners. Auto-reconciliation was another favored feature, as with it we could eliminate the requirement of monthly reconciliation reports, as reconciliation was done within the application. Reconciliation of reports sent through Reportum was done in real time, as once the report was acknowledged by Gilead, the Gilead case number would automatically sync up with the respective report within the application. The only requirement that Reportum did not initially meet was that of a learning management system. As previously mentioned, there was opportunity to improve training delivery, documentation, and storage through digital solutions. Upon sharing this with MyMeds&Me, they quickly worked to meet this requirement as well. by integrating a learning management system within Reportum. With this added feature, WebEx training sessions with our partners was eliminated, as training could be completed within the application. The learning management system also allowed for the tracking and storage of training completion, such that our partners could monitor compliance of their staff. And we saw this as a significant improvement for those partners with multiple sites. The design and layout of the structured fields allowed for efficient collection of safety data that is consistent and standardized, thereby improving data quality. The majority of questions contained within the adverse event journey have answers in the forms of radio buttons, which, as previously mentioned, allows for the quick capture of quality safety data by the user of varied safety reporting experience and background. This was seen as a significant advantage over the narrative-centric paper report form, as the agent could quickly progress to the next question while on the phone with a patient or provider versus writing out notes for the narrative and completing the paper report form at a later time. Soft and hard validations were also available to prompt users to complete the required fields, such as awareness date and Gilead product, prior to submission. The E2B transmission of reports was a favored feature not only of my team, but that of our operations team as well. As our operations team is responsible for registering incoming safety reports into the safety database, they foresaw a significant reduction in the time needed to do so with E2B transmission. Another time and resource saver for our operations team was the elimination of sending acknowledgments for submitted reports. Because this was done within the application through the auto-reconciliation function, there was no need for our operations team to perform this step for those partners using Reportum. As previously mentioned, the manual training and reconciliation processes were eliminated, as both could be done within the application. In addition to the hard and soft validations, which ensured high-quality safety data capture, the application had another feature, the quality reviewer role, which would allow our partners to review reports for completeness and accuracy prior to submission to Gilead. We also saw this user role helpful in training new staff, as management would be able to assess proficiency of case reporting. It is important to note the flexibility of this feature, and that once comfortable with performance, the user's account can be easily updated by the partner to remove quality review. The administrative reports the application produces would allow our partners to confirm submission of cases, as well as see confirmation of receipt of those cases by Gilead. The AE listing report would allow our partners to see all cases within the application at any time point, those submitted as well as those pending submission. And the reconciliation report would allow our partners to see the Gilead case numbers confirming receipt of the submitted cases. Since moving to a digital solution, we have seen an increase in the amount of consistent safety data captured and submitted by our partners. Case registration by our operations team has been significantly reduced due to the E2B transmission of reports directly into the safety database. The impact is improved efficiency, as the reports are then quickly progressed to the next workflow step. As nearly all of our U.S. partners are now using Reportum to submit cases, there has been a significant reduction in failed fax transmission or email submissions, which has improved on-time reporting compliance for our partners. Feedback from our partners about Reportum has been very positive. They appreciate the intuitive design and how easy it is to navigate, which is good to hear, as a positive end-user experience was important to us. Our partners particularly like the E2B transmission feature, as well as the ability to complete the required safety training online. Another valued function is the auto-reconciliation, which has significantly reduced time and resources, both internally here at Gilead as well as for our partners. And the administrative reports allow for monitoring of case submission, as partners have visibility of the report status for all cases within the application. And finally, for those partners that enable it, the quality reviewer role is also very useful, as it allows the partner to monitor proficiency of their staff, as well as confirm report completeness and accuracy prior to submission to Gilead. Thank you for your time and attention. I am now happy to introduce Ellen Morris from our valued partner, United BioSource Corporation, who will share her experience of safety reporting using a digital solution.
Thank you, Selena. We will now take a look at our experience as Gilead's patient support program partner with the implementation of digital adverse event reporting and the functions centralized in Reportum. The challenges from the operations side of the patient support program submitting adverse event reports by fax or email are similar to those Selena has presented from the client perspective. Prior to implementing the Reportum online adverse event reporting process, agent safety training was conducted through Gilead, scheduling multiple webinar training sessions for our operations teams. The group training sessions pull multiple agents away from their desk and their patient support service roles at the same time. Scheduling all agents to attend safety training in these group sessions while maintaining daily patient support operations can be a challenge for both small and large PSP teams. Also, with mainly a free text field for adverse event data capture, our internal quality monitoring of patient support program operations for complete event data capture was time-consuming. The quality review process of AE reports completed by new hire agents and staff new to safety reporting for accuracy and completeness before being submitted to Gilead was inefficient and time-consuming. Additional labor-intensive activities also included managing AE report follow-up requests from Gilead on potentially incomplete AE reports, as well as monthly AE reconciliation reporting with the Gilead team. Compliance-related inefficiencies included maintaining annual paper-based training logs and late AE reports related to fax or email technology failures. We had been working with Gilead for 3 years on a patient support program when in 2017 we were asked to be one of 2 Gilead vendor partners to pilot the Reportum AE digital reporting system prior to rollout across additional Gilead partners. We found several areas of increased efficiency with the digital adverse event reporting solution. Governance and management of the complete AE reporting process, including staff training, is within the system, an area of high importance for our compliance. Agents complete individual training within the system, eliminating the previous needs for group training presentations by Gilead and minimizing the number of our agents away from patient support activities during training. This allows maintaining daily operations and customer service levels while meeting annual safety training requirements. Agent AE training record reports are easy for management to access and review within the system to confirm all agents have completed initial training and training updates to maintain program training compliance. Agents who are new to the program are granted access to submit AE reports within the system only after completing the training, again maintaining compliance with evidence of safety training. A benefit with the online training for new users is the hold for review function Selena mentioned. This provides the opportunity for hold for review each report the new user completes following training. With the hold for quality review process, our quality reviewer can provide prompt feedback to new users or users with limited experience in safety reporting as the user encounters new scenarios from reporters and applies the training in their daily role. The hold for quality review process ensures agents are capturing and reporting details necessary to submit complete and accurate adverse event reports. This in turn reduces the number of follow-up queries from the Gilead Pharmacovigilance team. With agent training records maintained within the system, training compliant is audit ready. With our 2018 program audit with Gilead, training records were accessible by Gilead within the system. This eliminated us spending time retrieving paper training documents for auditor review. With the digital solution for adverse event reporting, we have seen increased efficiency with internal management processes. Structured and standardized form fields for capturing adverse event data elements simplifies quality monitoring prior to completing the AE report submission process online. Standardization of the form fields has also simplified our internal agent performance review process by minimizing free text data entry fields for QC monitoring, all with the end result of consistently providing complete and accurate adverse event data. With digital AE reporting, the search process for patient-specific reports previously submitted to Gilead is quick and easy when needing to address follow-up requests from the pharmacovigilance team. The ease of the system use results in maintaining adverse event reporting compliance and increased efficiency. Access to AE status reports in the system provides program management with insight to the status of each AE report to confirm all events have been reconciled by pharmacovigilance and follow up if needed. Additional benefits with the digital AE reporting process include the capability for program management to easily access reporting to confirm all AE reports for the day have been submitted to Gilead. There's no longer the potential for fax failure or misrouted email submissions, and AE reporting compliance is again maintained within the system. Also, with the auto-reconciliation process in Reportum, the monthly reconciliation report process of internal report management and submission to Gilead on our end have been eliminated, providing yet another area of increased efficiency and compliance management. After 3 years of submitting adverse event reports to Gilead by emailing a traditional AE form, we made a very smooth transition to using the Reportum digital training and adverse event reporting solution. Feedback from our team reflects the ease of use and preference for the current online process. A few of our staff comments include, the online process is definitely more efficient than the single-page form we've previously completed. I would rather report online than to fax or email, and I prefer online training. Thank you for your attention, and I will hand it now back to you, Selena.
Thanks, Ellen. That was really helpful. To summarize, we have covered in detail the challenges of a manual, paper-based safety reporting process and discussed the benefits of a digital solution. A digital solution streamlines the safety reporting process and makes it more efficient by eliminating the need to fax or email reports. And it stands to reason the less paper or electronic forms that need to be completed, the less chance there is for human error. The case follow-up process is faster, more agile, and is done within the system by a quick search for the initial report submitted. Because of the standardization and consistent data fields, a higher quality and more safety data is collected, which means more complete reports. For safety reporting from solicited programs, a digital solution like Reportum offers an end-to-end solution benefiting partners and clients. Reportum allows for the electronic capture and submission of high-quality, standardized safety data, as well as auto-reconciliation of submitted reports. Implementation has resulted in control of data quality, regulatory compliance, and efficiency. I thank you for your time and attention.
Brilliant, thank you. That was really informative. Well, a few of you have already submitted questions. While our presenters are answering these, please take a moment to answer any feedback that appears at the bottom of your screen. So, first question that's in. Can you give us a bit more information about Reportum and how it works, including addressing the hosting and validation? And if I could put that one to Andrew, please.
Yeah, sure. So thanks everyone, and thanks for the question. So I think, as you heard, Reportum transforms the end-to-end process and builds in compliance. I think the question there is around the verification and validation. So we provide a fully verified solution ready for client validation, which is a very light touch process. The solution's available, as we've said, on web and mobile. It's very easy and quick to deploy. We host and manage the software. So we host the solution on the AWS GXP cloud, which means that we meet global data privacy requirements and security requirements, including GDPR. So the only step that we really engage clients in terms of validation is the final user acceptance testing, which went ahead with, I think was very straightforward with Gilead and ultimately UBC. Thank you.
Brilliant. And next question. Given the commercial focus of many patient support programs, why should we bother refining our adverse event data collection? If I could maybe put that to Selena first, please.
Sure. As this webinar demonstrated, using manual paper-based safety reporting results in inefficient, poor data quality, and compliance issues. A digital solution provides an opportunity to streamline safety reporting and improve compliance through E2B submissions, as well as improve data quality through standardized, consistent collection of safety information. And Ellen, I'd be curious to hear your answer as well to this.
Thank you, Selena. From the patient support program side, the efficiencies that we've seen and improvements in both data capture as well as the training, maintaining the records, case follow-up, internal operations for monitoring agent performance, and of course the reconciliation. All of these have improved efficiencies as well as resulting in time that's spent to focus on the patient support services rather than more administrative activities. So it's been a great benefit for our services on the operations end. Thank you.
Brilliant, and lots of questions coming in. What are the financial, time and resource costs of implementing a system like this, and how does it weigh up against the benefits? And Selena, if I could go to you again, please.
Sure. So implementing Reportum within our partners was a very simple and straightforward process, as all that was required for the partner was to add the appropriate URLs to their whitelist. And once this was done, the partner then could access Reportum to begin their training. The time, though, would vary among our partners because it was completely dependent upon their internal approval processes. But a typical onboarding from the time that we would start our initial conversations to the time that they would go live was on average between 4 to 6 weeks. And in terms of internal resources by Gilead that was needed to work with the vendor to go ahead and onboard this, it was really just myself and a partner from IT. We were very easily able to go ahead and onboard our partners really quickly. And just to give you an idea, I was able to onboard about 20 of our partners within an 8-month time period. So it's a very easy digital solution to implement. Ellen, I'd be interested in hearing what you thought of the onboarding process.
Certainly, from the operations end, it went very smoothly. Like Selena referenced, the staff training was all online. The system's easy to use. And of course, too, the benefits for our management and internal operations with, again, the reference to reporting and no delays or unnoticed submissions that didn't go through. So the operations, both for the frontline staff as well as the management team, have greatly improved our efficiency, maintain our compliance, and again, allowed us to focus more on our client services. Thank you.
Brilliant. And next question, is Reportum a standalone system, or can it be added as a module on Argus? And if I could put that to Andrew first, please.
So Reportum is a standalone safety data capture solution. It's a digital solution. I think as Selena and Ellen have highlighted, the files are exported as an E2B file to any safety system, including Argus. And I think there are other questions that are coming through around the interface and the integration with Argus. So we as a team are very familiar with Argus. We're very familiar with mapping the fields into Argus, and we can certainly integrate very easily with Argus or any other safety system, be that a company's own safety database or an off-the-shelf database like Argus.
Brilliant. And another question's just come in. Could you please provide a bit more information on the follow-up process?
So I don't know, Ellen, Selena, do you want to talk about that a little bit? So I think you covered it.
Yeah, the follow-up process for us, Gilead, it was done outside of the system. And what we would do is we would go ahead and query just using email, like back to UBC to obtain additional information about a case. And then on the partner side, and Ellen, please feel free to add in if I miss something. It's simply a matter of searching for the initial report within the application. And once you find the initial report, you're then able to go in and make updates to that report and then send it as follow-up.
Certainly, and just to expand on that a little bit, previously with the traditional paper format system, if there was a inaccurate date of birth or patient identifier, it might be challenging to identify the case that was in question to follow up. But with the Reportum process, when you submit it online, you're instantly provided the ID that's then searchable for follow-up needs, and we can easily go in and then review the case, and like Selena referenced, to see if there was something that needed to be completed or what the question is. So it makes it much more efficient and easier to follow up because you have that identification from the point you actually submit it initially to go back if needed.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
So on to the next question. Is this applicable to all solicited programs, MRPs, named patient use, etc.?
So I'll start it, Andrew. Well, the answer is yes. I think the solution operates across the post-marketing and now increasingly the clinical landscape, so it enables capture of data from the reporter themselves, interestingly. So it could be the patient, the healthcare professional, third parties like UBC, or even sales reps and others. So it can work across the repertoire of post-marketing programs or spontaneous programs to collect the data.
Great. And another question's come in for Selena. What internal challenges, hurdles did Gilead have to go through before initiating this capability? They said, I'm sorry if this question was asked before, they lost a bit of connection.
So internally, it was, like I said, a pretty smooth process, and it was very easy to go ahead and work with MyMeds&Me when in determining how we would go ahead and configure Reportum. It was actually pretty easy for us to do that. It was easy for us to actually do the validation testing. I don't foresee any hurdles in thinking back to how the project ran. I thought that it went very well. It was very smooth. We had a cross-functional team that participated within the project. So commercial was represented PVE was represented, regulatory was represented, and so it was really part of the reason why it was so successful and we were able to launch on time was because we worked really well together as a team, and we worked really well together with MyMeds&Me. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Selena. Next question, and if I could put this to Andrew, please. Is translation handled within Reportum?
Yes, translation is handled within Reportum. I think we highlighted that in the process flow. So many of our clients are using the system globally for patient support programs and other programs. And the translation step, the vast majority of the work is done in Reportum. There may be other small areas which need to be done outside, or if for particularly complex languages that are unusual, then we would route the data and alert the local affiliate who can then use Reportum to complete the translation step.
Thank you. So next question here. Does the client need to make any customization decisions?
Selena, that may be you as the client. Did you need to make any customization decisions?
Yes. I mean, the way Reportum is structured, the adverse event report journey is pretty thorough, and depending on the types of information that you would like to collect from your programs, it typically is just a matter of turning on or off that particular functionality. So for example, and I hope this helps, there's, with regards to seriousness of cases, Gilead chose to only use disabling, hospitalization, and death. So we were able to turn off life-threatening and medically significant. And our reason and rationale for doing so is that we were really looking for the partner agents to be able to quickly and definitively determine the seriousness of an event. And oftentimes, again, depending on their background or drug safety reporting experience, it might be kind of challenging to go ahead and determine whether or not an event is life-threatening or medically significant. So that's one example of how we were able to customize the reporting journey.
Another question for you, and if I can put this one to Andrew again. Is there an automatic check to the flag draft cases in Reportum to ensure safety timelines are followed?
Yeah, thanks. So I think as Selena highlighted, there are various configurations in the workflow, and one of those configurations is the product, the seriousness of the event, and we can workflow and triage those cases as expedited or visualized cases to a quality control step or a reviewer step. So that's key. And in addition, the reports, when they're entered, can be sent in real time immediately to an administrative or a senior person for immediate awareness or review, and that can be, again, decided upon by the rules that the pharma client, or indeed the vendor, if it's a contract research organization, wants to follow for a particular program.
Thank you. Next question. Are participants able to enter their information directly, or is this only for trained study personnel?
So I'll start and then maybe hand over to Selena and Ellen. So I think it depends on, again, the nature of the organization and the program and the company. So some organizations will say we permit only authenticated users within a program to use the system. So trained users who've been through e-learning, who are then given access to Reportum and then can enter safety data. A very controlled system. Other organizations have elected to actually use Reportum for spontaneous adverse reporting direct from the web, or indeed from patients directly, in which case there is no authentication required. But in the use case we've described here, there is authentication to control user access. So Selena and Ellen, I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I think that's great. I think you hit all the bells and whistles with that one.
Another question here, and if I can put this one to Andrew. Many marketing initiatives from a pharmacovigilance perspective are patient support programs, and as such, an initiative has to be worked from the commercial and the pharmacovigilance regulatory standpoint. There is usually a business owner who must engage on the pharmacovigilance side. How do you work to increase the ownership and engagement of the business owner when that is not a pharmacovigilance person?
So we do careful stakeholder management and manage with usually a lead. And I think in this situation, someone like Selena has been the key stakeholder and the key driver and the key representative within the organisation. I think this really should go to Selena, as she has been the driving force within Gilead, and I think epitomises how things should be done in an optimal way.
Yeah, no, thanks, Andrew. So I think the most important thing is to make sure that when you're looking at a digital solution like Reportum, that you make sure that all of your internal stakeholders that could potentially be affected by it are included within the project team. So as I mentioned earlier, so you want representation from your commercial organization or whoever owns the programs that you're looking to collect safety information from using Reportum, right? And so if it's a patient support program, then you're looking to engage your commercial person. If you're looking at market research, again, you're looking to engage your commercial person. And then obviously you would want to have safety representation on that, because it's going to really be, what we term as perhaps maybe the business being PVE or safety representation, working with very closely the project owner, so that working with your commercial person in determining how to roll this out and what would make most sense given the partners that are involved with the commercial program that you would end up rolling out Reportum to. And so that's how we managed it internally. So for me, I worked very closely with the commercial owners that had the partnership with UBC. And so it was truly a collaborative effort.
Thank you. And we've got another question here saying thank you to Selena for answering the question on internal hurdles. How do health authorities view the solution? What are the key areas for change management we should pay extra attention to as we start planning this journey? If I could go to Selena first, please.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
No
I'm
problem.
having actually a really difficult time following the question.
No, it's fine. So how do health authorities view the solution? What are the key areas of change management we should pay extra attention to when we start planning for this journey?
Yeah, so in terms of how regulatory authorities view the application, I know that, and Andrew might be able to answer this, I know that the FDA is using a version of Reportum, and so if that has any weight or if that helps address the question, then I hope that that's helpful for you. And then in terms of other challenges, again, I think as far as I can see with reporting, because we have, like for us, with our partners to ensure compliance, they had to go ahead and complete Gilead's internal training before they could even access the system to perform safety reporting. And so in the event, and one of the main areas of inspection that we see are training records. Oftentimes during inspections, training records of our partners are requested. And so in this situation, we could very easily be able to produce those using a system like Reportum, because again, it's centralized all of our safety reporting requirements that were included in our contract in one application.
So Selena, thanks. I think one of our large other large clients was inspected, and their end-to-end process was inspected for case intake, case processing, and routing and expedited reporting. And Reportum was part of that process. So we were asked for information. We shared information as part of the audit. We didn't have the inspectors on site, but we were in close contact with the pharma team, and the inspection went very well. So there were no findings related to Reportum or the case processing operation. It was actually found to be of a high standard and very acceptable to the agency.
Thank you, Andrew. And if I could address the next question to you, please. Can Reportum be linked to internal program approval systems?
Yeah, so I think the application, so the software application has integrations through APIs to other systems, and it can take data from data libraries, whether those are libraries of staff or participants or drug libraries, to enable companies to integrate more simply with the ecosystem that is part of the study management system.
Great, and I think we've got time for maybe one or two more questions depending on the responses. Are there apps for mobile devices and or optimized for mobile web browsers? And if I could put that to you again, Andrew.
So the answer is yes. So we have both a native mobile version, which is multilingual, and we've just been in Japan demonstrating its functionality in Japanese, and it works supremely well there as well. So it's available as a native app, and it's also available as a web mobile, so that it can be used through a web browser on the mobile platform, and it scales to different devices, be that a phone, a tablet, or obviously a web browser on a computer.
Great, and so the final question, just to mention any questions that we haven't had time to get to, we will follow up offline afterwards. Are there narratives automatically read by AI, such as natural language processing, to extract data like indications of COMED, for instance, and putting this into relevant fields to improve quality?
Yeah, so I'll take that. Yeah, so Andrew, I'll take that. I mean, it's a question we're asked a lot, and we integrate with a variety of AI providers who are the big players in the world now, and AI is obviously a hot topic. So there are a number of major organizations who provide AI services that we feed, and we integrate with them, and commonly we provide if companies so desire, and in Gilead didn't actually want that, but companies may desire a full solution including AI, then we go in with one of our partners who provide that complementary technology, and therefore we have a great bundle that solves actually today's problem with digitization and actually workflow and automation, but also future-proofs that by building in the AI capabilities for the future, which I think are still in evolution.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, I'm afraid we've run out of time now, but I'd like to thank our presenters for their outstanding presentations. We would also like to thank MyMeds&Me for sponsoring today's event. On behalf of Scrip, have a productive remainder of the day. Thanks all. Bye.